Hey folks, Tyler here with Seaway Whiskey Wire. You know, before I started my YouTube journey, I used to always watch a ton of videos on these "You Only Need 5 Whiskeys" challenge, and just recently Matt from Whiskey on the West Coast submitted his selection there, and he was a little bit late too to the game. But you know, seeing that video and watching through it a couple times, it really inspired me. Actually, had a pretty good conversation with him on it as well, and yeah, it really inspired me to kind of do my submission and do my list. So here we are, a couple months into my YouTube journey here, and yeah, this is Seaway Whiskey Wire submission for "You Only Need 5 Whiskeys" challenge. So go watch the intro, come on back, and we'll get this going. Stick around. Hey, thanks for coming back, guys. So the rules for the 5 Whiskey Challenge are, it's 5 categories. The categories are guilt-free pour or daily drinker, so something you don't mind drinking every day. It's not going to break the bank, very approachable and easy and accessible. The next one's going to be to impress a guest, so something you bring out when you got guests over, you want to impress them and just introduce them to different things. I think that's a great category. There's the everyday mixer. So a whiskey you want to mix in cocktails or have to make different drinks with. I think that's a great category. The Friday night pour. So Friday night, long week of work, you get home and you pour a dram, and what dram are you pouring? And the last category is the special occasion dram, something you bring out and crack out for special occasions. I've got a dram in front of me here too. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you probably already know which one it is. It's going to be a mystery dram. I'm gonna kind of reveal it during the video here, so stick around to see what's in my glass today. But we'll start off going through it, and when we get to that category, I'll reveal my mystery dram. So without further ado, let's get on to the list here. And the first one on the list is the guilt-free pour, the daily drinker. So the guilt-free daily drinker is something that I personally like and could drink, you know, any day of the week. You know, you come home, you want to watch the ball game, you want to watch the hockey game or whatnot, and you want something that's, you know, easy, something that's, you know, fulfilling to get you through the week and isn't going to break the bank or make you feel bad about having a dram midweek. I've got a couple honorable mentions that I could have went with on this one. Number one, the Bunnahabhain 12-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey from Islay, the sherried classic, very good. Very decadent. The other one I had on the list too was the Ardbeg 5-year-old Wee Beastie. That's another one of my personal favorites. You know, smoky Islay meets bourbon meets sherry at a young age statement, and really a very, very good and hefty dram, and not too expensive either. The other one I had on the list was the Ardent American AD. Very good whiskey, again, not age statement, very approachable, and doesn't break the bank. But if I have to be honest with myself and really kind of let you guys in on what I'm drinking on a day when, you know, I don't want anything too complicated, nothing too crazy, then I have to go with my gut, and my gut says my daily drinker is the Glenfarclas 12-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. And the Glenfarclas 12-year-old is near and dear to my heart. Obviously, I went to the tasting there in Toronto and whatnot, but this is my second bottle of this, and I really enjoy it. 43% ABV. It's not gonna destroy your palate or anything like that. It's easy enough, but it's complex enough as well. You get those sherried fruits, that Glenfarclas funk from the direct fire stills. You get the butterscotch notes, the caramel, the apple, and it's just a great, well-rounded, easy, and approachable dram. So my daily drinker, my guilt-free pour, is the Glenfarclas 12-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. The next up is to impress a guest. So something that I would bring out and crack into when someone new is coming over, or somebody who is into Scotch but is not so into Scotch that they know, you know, exactly what they like, or they're looking to try something new. And, you know, you want to give them something that's going to kind of floor them, something that's going to make them open their eyes, something they're going to remember, something that's going to jump out and just go, you know, I really didn't consider that. And for that reason, and the fact that I do distribute this a lot to my guests coming in here, and more or less to get a reaction from them, my impress a guest dram or bottle is the Kilchoman Seneg single malt Scotch whiskey from the island of Islay. Another one coming here from Islay for me, and it's a real peat monster at 65 ppm. But it's that heavily sherried influence from the Kilchoman distillery. It's sherried in bourbon, but it's heavily focused on the sherry influence. And I just love giving it to people and having them get that. It's a real hefty smoke from a really neat storied distillery in Kilchoman, being that it's a younger distillery and they try and source everything locally and all that kind of stuff. And just the fact that it's heavily peated, heavily sherried coastal dram. I've compared it to like smoking a cigar and having a cherry Coke by the beach, and I love giving it to guests when they come downstairs here to the bar and see their reaction when you tell them, and they always, well, who is that? Well, it's Kilchoman, and they go, I never would have thought of them. So it's a great introduction to getting people into Kilchoman, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So my impressive guest bottle for me is the Kilchoman Sineg single malt Scotch whiskey. The next category is the mixer, and the mixer should be something that, it's something you don't mind putting in a cocktail. It's something you don't mind mixing up in an old fashioned, or putting on ice, or putting on the rocks, or having an issue with putting all that together for people coming in, or for yourself for that matter. And it shouldn't be a stressful dram. I could have went with the Glenmorangie 10 on this one. I really kind of thought about it a little bit, but then I got thinking, I'm like, what do I actually use more for mixing? And honestly, wouldn't be afraid to drink it neat as well. And for that reason, I'm going to go with the Isla Mist 8-year-old blended Scotch whiskey. Isla Mist is a great little product, It's an 8-year-old. It's an 8-year-old age statement, and it has some Speyside in there mixed with some Lafroig. So you get that smokiness that everybody kind of craves. I know I do. But making things like an old fashioned, making things like a rusty nail, making things like a penicillin. These are all going to be upcoming cocktail slam videos, I assure you. Likely using the the Isla Mist 8-year-old. But there's some grain whiskey in there, and it's not overly complicated and stuff like that. But it does pack a little bit of a punch to it. 40% ABV. Obviously, there's some color added there, but I use this as a great introduction. Somebody who doesn't want to have a full-fledged Lafroig, they just want to have a little taste and a kiss of Lafroig. And that's where I get that from the Isla Mist 8-year-old. And it actually comes with a pretty cool story. I got a review coming up for it, and we'll get into that at that part. So yeah, my bottle for the mixer category is the Isla Mist 8-year-old blended Scotch whiskey. Next category is the Friday night pour, which it's Friday night when I'm filming this now. I'm having myself my usual Friday night pour. And I'm again, going something a little bit smoky, and something I appreciate, and something that's new and different. And I don't mind pouring it because it gives me that satisfaction at the end of the week that I get something good in my glass, something complex, something that's not overly expensive and not overly hard to find. But it's something I think is kind of overlooked, and I'm making a point in this video of presenting it, but it truly is my Friday night dram, and that is the Ardbeg No. And I mean, the Ardbeg No, everyone's kind of like, oh, it's forgettable, and why would you bother with it? Just go straight from the 10 to the Ugadel. I'm telling you, one of my goals of the channel is to review the entire core range of Ardbeg this year, which we're getting pretty close to it. The Ano has really impressed me, and those of you who talk to me on Instagram or whatever, Facebook, you guys know I tote this a little bit. I do push this one because I think it's well more deserving. You get those nice, there's some PX in there, there's some bourbon, there's no age statement, but it just gives me enough smoke. It comes in with a kind of a different ABV. I think it's 46.6% ABV, smoky, sweet, and singular rounded. And I mean, I think it is well rounded. It's not overly smoky, it's not overly sweet, but it's got a nice balance and a nice good caress from that smoke. I don't want to ruin my review coming up here, but yeah, it's just got those sweet PX notes, that peppery bit in there. The peat is not too crazy. Yeah, it's like an Ugadel Jr., but you know what? On a Friday night, if I don't want to pound back a dram of Ugadel, this is the one I'm reaching for, and honestly, I'm reaching for it more and more each week. So my Friday night pour bottle is the Ardbeg No. And for the last category, it's the special occasions dram. And this is the only one I don't have on the bar. I don't have this available to me, but it's something that I know if I know I could go and go through my channels and my network, and I could produce a dram of this, or a little bit of a sample of this whenever I kind of need it. And sometimes, you know, that's good enough for me. It's something that is, you know, for special occasions. I would probably go out and buy a bottle. Would I buy a bottle of this? Probably not, but I definitely would try and seek out a dram of it to revisit it. And that is why my special occasion bottle, really more of a dram or sample, is the Glenfarclas 40-year-old. I sampled the Glenfarclas 40-year-old in Toronto. I'm still talking about it today. It's definitely one of the most complex, long finish sherry whiskeys that I've ever had, from a distillery that's near and dear to my heart. I remember the atmosphere at the event. I remember meeting some terrific people, Ian Hanna, Steve Beaumont, and some other folks. And I just remember the food and the atmosphere and the smells and everything. So when something special does come along, I'm definitely going to be requesting this. So Ian, expect my email coming when something big happens in the world, and I hope you'll help me out with that, my friend. So yeah, my special occasion dram is the Glenfarclas 40-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. Well, that about wraps up my list for the 5 whiskeys challenge. Hope you like this kind of video. I really enjoyed putting it together. It really was a thought-provoking video for me, guys. I spent a lot of time kind of going through and weighing my options here and presenting it to you guys, and I hope you like the way I presented it. But I appreciate you guys sticking around till the end. And if you like what we're doing here at Seaway Whiskey Wire, you guys know that drill. Like and subscribe down below. Let me see your comments. What's your top 5 whiskeys? Do you think I hit it wrong with the do you think I could have went a different direction with my daily drinker pour? Let me know. I love to hear from you guys. I hope you guys are having something good in your glass. I know I am. And for all that, I love doing these videos, and I love bringing them to you. And I'll try my best to keep doing that. So to your health, Slange, all the best, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Bye for now.